What's up, YouTube fam? Welcome back to the channel. This episode, we're going to talk about how we are up 7% this week from selling options. But guess what? We are not done yet. I promise you guys, we are absolutely not done. Matter of fact, even though today's Thursday, even though tomorrow's Friday, I truly believe the fun has only just begun this week. Now, what makes me feel that way? Here's the thing, guys. Bitcoin has literally been like a freaking barcode, right? Like it is literally, listen, I don't want to start getting crazy and start sounding like hyper bullish on anything, but when you pull up this chart, right, when you look at a higher time frame, whichever time frame you look at right now, truthfully, right, the daily, I see a double bottom and a rejection from the bears, right? I see the bulls rejecting the bears. The 4 hour, all I see is demand forming and rejection forming. Obviously, my favorite indicator, the market cipher, looks like it's becoming a freaking gun, ready to shoot the Bitcoin price into, oblivion, right? Again, I just feel extremely bullish looking at this chart. And this is not from a guy who claims to be a trader by any means. I've traded, right? I've studied charts and I've traded for a long time, and I've used, that wisdom to begin option selling, because I'll tell you this, when you're trading 0-day options or you're trading futures with these silly prop firms, you're going to fail, right? But when you take the knowledge that you learn from that and bring it to option selling, you can become very successful. Truthfully, I do believe that something like trading NASDAQ futures will make you a much better option seller, because in the end of the day, majority of stocks will always follow the SPY, right? And that's why I like trading things like SPXL or TQQQ, because that's like an option seller's version of the NASDAQ, right? It's kind of just identifying which assets are going to present to you, the most profit. Now, obviously, if we go and look at our history this week, it's really been just slaughtering slaughtering earnings plays. DraftKings was actually only a $50 win. Obviously, if we would have held it, we would have made the full 166. But I didn't see the point in holding for an extra 100 when we were already up 40% before the earnings, right? So, a lot of times we've been down going into earnings, or, break even. Okay, I'll hold. But, when you're up 40% going into the earnings, the risk reward doesn't add up, right? Because think about it. I'm only going to make an extra $100 profit, but if DraftKings goes down 15%, I'm stuck in a deep hole and I'm stuck rolling for God knows how long, right? And that's why I didn't feel afraid to take this 200 shares on Connell to sell a deep out of the money covered call, because I, a month ago, 2 months ago, if you were watching, then you would have known that I sold covered calls I sold cash secured puts on 400 shares. So for me, purchasing 200 shares, which was 190 here, and then 10 shares before that, I sold cash secured puts on double the size. So 200 still isn't great. Obviously, it is big relative to this account size, but it's not a position I'm scared to play. Why am I not scared to play it? I'm not scared because when you look at things like TTD, right? Even if the thing about me, guys, is even though I didn't get caught up in this mess, I give my heart out to the people who did. Because if you're an option seller playing the game we're playing, where you're selling options during earnings, then you're going to have this happen eventually, right? And that's why a moment like this with Connell, where I'm so bullish, is where I feel like it's my duty to sell covered calls on shares as opposed to do cash secured puts, because I truly feel confident, right? I feel confident that if it doesn't go up, that the covered call will win enough to make me get out of the position profitably. And if it does go up, then we can be, set for a huge win. So, as much as I love cash secured puts, and they really are what I would endorse, and I truly do believe cash secured puts still should be the number one strategy that anyone does. Obviously, right now we're only selling one cash secured put, but, you'll see as time progresses, this account will be primarily cash secured puts. And if you've been watching me for a long time, you would know that it pretty much is always cash secured puts. But I don't want people to think that that's all I'm ever going to do, right? So if there's a moment where I really feel good about a position, 100, 200 shares, that's not anything abnormal to me. Again, I've done already 400 shares on Connell, and I don't want to do that ever again, right? But that's why I'm not as afraid to sell covered calls on 200 shares, because to me, as much as that account, that position might seem big for this account, it just doesn't. It's not a position that really makes me lose sleep at night. That's what it comes down to, is not losing sleep at night. And I've been a part of doing things where I did lose sleep at night, even on this channel. Truthfully, when I was in 400 shares, it just wasn't comfortable for me. At least 200. Worst case, it falls. I truly believe that I'll be able to collect the 200 here, and then move on to another covered call and then it will recover. I just don't see Bitcoin falling right now, truthfully. I just don't see it. I feel like, what we've been doing is just, came up and it's just a consolidation now, waiting to make the next move up. And to me, this is a safer trade than other things that I've done, right? I've put $10,000 into a leveraged trade on an exchange like Bybit. I've done things like that where, for me, getting leverage without a liquidation price, I've heard Michael Saylor discuss it, how he doesn't have a liquidation price, yet he's been able to access billions and billions of dollars worth of leverage. In this case, I'm accessing 200, percent of Coinbase with cheaper shares, so we can do things like sell covered calls. And to me, I like getting that level of leverage without a liquidation price. So that's how we've been able to achieve these results this week, right? And I truly believe we're just getting started. Make sure to subscribe to see where we take this account. Make sure to just, see what happens. Follow Connell, follow along, follow TQQ, because I will be broadcasting every play live, as I have been since we started this channel on November 6th. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a lot. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.